All right, guys, welcome. Let's get into another episode of What the Hell Your President is Doing. As you guys know, yesterday was the joint session of Congress that he held that was televised. So let's get into what overall happened during that time. First of all, I want to say it was very clear. There's a clear divide within our country between the Democrats and the Republicans, okay? The Democrats was booing Trump when he was blatantly saying lies, when if you guys research things, it is adding up. And then when Trump was insulting the Democrats, the Republicans was standing up and being very boisterous and very kind of demeaning in my eye. In my professional opinion, and being a United States citizen, I believe both parties were being disrespectful if we're being fair. But at the end of the day, not saying something when your president is saying false information, that is a problem, and you should not be holding a seat, whether it's House of Representatives seat, whether that is a senator seat, whether you are on local government, state government, or you're within the federal government, because at the end of the day, your motive should be for the American people, not what your dictator or your king wants you to be on board with, because that is an area of delusion. Now, shout out to Rep Al Green, who was unfortunately escorted out of the joint session because he was standing up and pointing out some of the lies that the Trump administration has said, and he has spoken out about why he was doing the things that he was doing. He was basically advocating for his ancestors, for marginalized groups, and just for common decency when it comes to the American people, and really being truthful on your policies and your bills that you're trying so hard to push that is inaccurate and is essentially going to harm the American people. Let's just say the working class American people, because the rich, they're going to be fine. Now, Trump got caught up in some lies too, because news reporters and people inquiring questions, questioning what is the relation between him and Elon Musk and this Doge government of efficiency department that he bestowed upon him. He has said that Elon was not ahead of that agency, but he blatantly stood up proud with his chest puffed out and said that he was indeed the head of the Department of Efficiency, aka Doge, which he got caught in a lie. So y'all senators, y'all House representatives, take this to court and get to suing. Baby Bop just got caught in some lies, but he's always getting caught up in some lies. I also want to point out he claimed that he took the money back from, I guess he's saying Congress, but he took the money back when he was saying how they were dismantling all of these things, giving all this money to different countries and different organizations we were a part of. As you guys have seen, the Trump administration has pretty much dismantled a lot of the federal government agencies, or essentially have them working as a skeleton crew, or the people that he is appointing in those positions, or the people that they feel is right to be in those positions. He said that they will be applying that money to inflation and other things. Well, here's my thing. You guys need to read into between the lines when he is saying other things. I'm just going to say allegedly. What he means by other things is they're trying to find all this money to try to give these billion-dollar companies and these billionaires tax cuts to help them, because we all know the American people that uses their brain, whether you're educated or not educated. Just because you have a college degree doesn't mean you know what you're talking about. You could be someone that doesn't have a college degree and be extremely intelligent as well. So we want to promote that. Intelligence is not always with degrees. It is needed. It's just an added touch to things. However, you need to be, as the president, you talking about transparency, sir. You need to be 100% clear on what is other things. Okay, since you talk about your transparent, you weren't talking about the other things. So that's why I said allegedly that's the tax cuts for the billionaires. He also announced that he has this project, how he wants to drill the liquid gold from America, and it's called Drill Baby Drill. How unprofessional is that? But that is what the campaign is titled, and that is what he is leading. Here's my thing. I am all for jobs coming back to America, But I also believe there is a kickback from the Trump administration, and there is so much things that we need to worry about as American citizens. Yes, it's beautiful for companies to have incentives to come back and to put their industries back into America. And I do feel like there needs to be some kind of compromise between the government and these agencies, but it shouldn't be to the point where us, the little guys, is constantly getting squeezed out, and the people that are working those jobs is not getting paid and working in not sufficient working conditions, not being considerate of people's unions, not acknowledging that, not protecting their rights, etc., like that. So there needs to be some kind of compromise. So I'm all for them coming back and creating jobs in America, but also too, you need to make sure that the people that are working these jobs are protected, because all these different unions wouldn't be suing the federal government right now, wouldn't be suing these individual organizations, wouldn't be having protests if they were treating fairly in the first place. If you're making billions and billions and billions of dollars, and I'm a strong advocate of this, there is no reason why your employee has to work multiple jobs, overtime, double shifting, sometimes triple shifting, just to make sure that they have all of their basic needs met. That's not including if they want to take a vacation, or they want to make sure their children can do extracurricular activities, to advance just themselves, right? Child. But I also worry about what are the environmental impacts of this. Now, we all know this president doesn't take into consideration, although I'm going to say allegedly, the environmental factors when it comes to certain industries that create toxic environments, waste and poisoning of waters, lands, destroying forest land and wildlife land, displacing animals, creatures of that environment, okay? You need to make sure that you are also protecting, the people and also the environment and also the animals that habitat in these places where these industries will be at. Now, we're not all for criticizing here, too. As you guys know, when I covered the Lincoln Riley Act that he signed into law, I did agree with that. I thought it was a beautiful gesture how he dedicated in Galveston Bay 35 acres in honor of her. I think that is beautiful. So I do want to give Trump his kudos when it is met, especially allegedly she loved nature and things like that. I thought that was a great honor and dedication for that lovely person. Now, I was real sketchy when it comes to this police immunity that Trump is preaching about, talking about protecting police officers. I'm all for protecting police officers, but instead of you having this immunity for police officers, y'all need to have police reform. There is no reason, for one, police officers are not paid more for their jobs. For two, there is no reason why there is not a lot of psychological help for them, because anyone over time that's constantly being in traumatic environments or having to deal with trauma and just conflict constantly is going to be right in their mind over time. If you are not doing those things outside of work and there is not a lot of resources in your job to take care of that, that is a problem. You were worried about the wrong things, Trump, and I think you're going about it the wrong way. And he said that he's implementing a death penalty for anyone that kills a police officer. Well, first of all, you need to make sure that the death penalty also is for the police officer too that wrongfully kills people. So what I'm worried about is you're implementing these things, and we already know that you guys like to target Black and brown people, that you guys are not going to be using that to execute people even more, since you uplifted the capital punishment rule nationwide. Okay, I'm really concerned and I have some issues about that, and us as American people need some clarity, and we need some justification and answers about this. In addition, he talked about he's going to have a crime bill for repeatedly offenders. Well, again, I feel like there needs to be some reform here. Instead of you trying to penalize people, you need to start putting money into rehabilitation facilities and putting money into that industry to ensure that they don't go back into prison, instead of trying to unalive them and try to punish them and put them in jail. So, by the way, so these private corporations, it could take advantage of it and essentially create slave labor and pay them little to pennies to work and build these things that we enjoy as the American people, which I think is wrong.